Hi everyone, my name's Mark Deere and I'm braving the sun today with a beautiful view to talk to you about what to do when you have no idea what to do. This is something that comes up for me a lot around this time of year because for the last 10 years I've been a teacher, and for 11 years before that I worked in film, so I'm a teacher of film. And at this time of year, a lot of students are about to graduate. And the question I often get is, students who have a lot of options or just no options think, what do I do with myself? Well, they ask me, what do I do with myself? I don't know what to do. I could go to uni, I could, stay in my current job, I could try and get a new job, I could have no job, I could travel, there's so many options, And it's funny because I'm probably almost talking to myself as well right now. I've been on long service leave for quite a while, and if you don't know where I'm at, you can watch any of my other videos. I talk about it a fair bit. And yeah, it's for me as well. I have a lot of choice at the moment. Because I'm on leave, I have kind of the luxury of being able to think about what else I might do with my life, if anything. And, after 11 years of film and then 10 years of teaching, almost 11 years of teaching, do you do something else for 11 years or should I keep teaching? I don't know. I do enjoy being in the classroom and I enjoy my film students, but looking at the options of what to do next. But the thing is, when you have too many options, what should you choose? How do you know what to choose? And there's conventional, advice, which is do a pro and cons list, see which one outweighs the other, thinking about it in terms of being logical and rational. And then there's the other school of thought, which is what does your heart tell you to do? Follow your heart, be intuitive and listen to your heart. But usually what I say is none of that really matters. What I think you need to do when you have multiple choices and you don't know what to do next, instead of ruminating for a really long time about what the future is going to hold or what you should do with yourself, just pick a direction. And the way you pick that direction might use one of those conventional lists, so you might decide, I'll do a pro and con list. There's a lot of advantages to this. Maybe I'll give that a go. Or you might go, I really want to do this, but it seems impractical, but just give it a go anyway. And the piece of advice I give people is pick a direction, any direction, and start walking. So, because here's the thing, when there's unlimited possibilities, it's there's unlimited possibilities, but they'll stay unlimited if you don't do anything. But if you pick a direction and start moving in that direction, even if it's terrible, even if you only take 2 steps in that direction and go, whoop, this is terrible, then you know. So now you can close that door confidently, because now rather than having just theoretical, not even evidence, just having thought about it or knowing what it might be like in theory, you know in reality what it's like and whether or not that's something you want to stick with or not. Especially for young people, I often say you don't want to close doors too early. I mean, I'm 43 years old now and I've accepted that I'll probably never dance for the Royal Ballet of, England or whatever. I don't know what they're actually called. But it's being a ballerina, no, you probably need to get started in that when you're 4 years old or something so that you can break your bones the right way to be able to be as flexible as you need to be or whatever. But there are other things which only now in my 40s have I started closing the door. I'm never going to do that. That's just not time, or that's not going to be a priority for me. But when you're young, really there's no need or no good reason to close doors on things. But just thinking about things, you're never going to get anywhere, and before you know it, doors are going to have closed while you were just drifting, So rather than drifting, consciously choosing the direction you're going to walk, consciously choosing the thing that you want to do, I think that's the best place to begin. And it's the best way to stop overthinking, stop ruminating. Because this is the thing, I find a lot of students have, a lot of anxiety. And over the 10 years I've been teaching, I've noticed that the anxiety has increased. A lot of anxiety about the future. And I'm really, a lot of what causes the anxiety is out of your control anyway. But the one thing you can do is pick a direction, pick a thing, and do it. Now, it's funny because I'm giving myself this advice here because right now I have a number of options for what I could do moving forwards. And they're all good, And it's you have to by doing one thing, not do another. And so I guess I just like the idea today of exploring or trying to articulate how I feel about the idea of when you have a lot of options and you don't know what to do. What do you do? And I know this. I from many years of having done it, when you pick a direction and you move in that direction much more quickly, if it's the right direction or not, and you can instantly pivot. Years and years and years ago, I was offered a job, I would make a decision, I'm going to do this. I talked about this in another video. I decided me and Kenny were going to get married, so we left Melbourne to come back to Queensland. And we'd bought a camera and I decided we're going to make another film, get married, filmmaking is what we're going to do. And this was from years, it's not you just cut the cord. This is what I'm saying. You don't close doors when you're young. I had originally worked in game development when I was young, and I haven't made a whole video about that, but I've talked about it in a few videos, where I worked on the game Fable in England. I got to be an intern at Lionhead Studios, and while I was there, that was kind of like the top of the games industry. Like I'd wanted to be in games my whole, or not my whole life, but like my young adult life, you know, like when I was 18, 19, 20. I'd wanted to work in games, and I'd had a game company, so it was like, for me, amazing. But then when I went there, it wasn't as great as I hoped. I just didn't like it as much, and I'd kind of discovered filmmaking. So this was 2003, and by 2005, I'd shot my first feature film. And these series of videos I'm doing, the 100 videos in 100 days, is about how it's 20 years. 2005, I directed my first feature film. So, you know, I moved into filmmaking away from games. But here we were in 2008, so, you know, 3 years after that feature film, and 4 years after I'd been at Lionhead, and I still had skills in game development. And so, for me, you know, the door wasn't closed on games. Like, I had skills in it. There were parts of it I enjoyed, but I decided I was going to do film stuff. So as we were driving into Melbourne, our car, we'd gotten rid of a lot of our possessions. Our car, we had like an old dodgy 1981 BMW, 5 Series BMW. It was a piece of garbage, but it was beautiful. We called it Richie. And it was in our third feature film, The Least Damnedest Thing. You can see the car in that film. But yeah, we filled up the car to the brim, ready to drive out of Melbourne. And I got a phone call from a job I'd applied for like 18 months earlier as a game designer at a company in Melbourne. They were about to work on an F1 game for EA. And they offered me a job as a designer, and it would have been a very high paying job. And I had no job where we were going. I had no prospects for making money in film. And yeah, at that moment I had to kind of decide, like, okay, well, I could work in this company, high pay, prestigious job, you know, working for a big organization, you know, but I've just decided I'm going to leave, you know. And so I'd already picked a direction, and I'd walked half a step in that direction. And at this point, I got called back. Do you want to walk in this other direction? And I really didn't know what to do, but in that moment, I kind of just said, nope, I'm getting married and moving to Queensland. Sorry, you missed out. Like 18 months ago, I would have taken this job. And maybe right now, today, 20 years later, less than 20 years later, because this was 2008, February 2008, or March 2008. Yeah, I might still be in game development and not doing this, you know. So it's interesting, you know, when you make decisions. But I could have gone back from that decision is my point. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to make a decision because what if I make the wrong decision? It's like, you can't make the wrong decision. Pick a direction, start walking. If that direction doesn't work out, change direction. Start walking in that direction. And I've been giving this advice to students for a decade now. So I think some of them it's helped. You know, students often get back to me and, you know, say thank you and that I did a good job teaching, and that makes me feel good because, I mean, I do try hard and I'm very invested in all the students I ever taught. And so, you know, it makes you feel good. But to be honest, any advice I ever gave, because I'd rather talk to someone and find out things from them and let them answer their own questions, you know. But often I would give advice because, you know, people would ask for advice. It's not unsolicited. And I think it's just the advice I give myself. Like, it took me a number of years to learn. Pick a direction and go. Because you can waste 6 months, a year, 2 years. Some people waste their entire life, you know, sitting on a decision. They just can't make a decision on which direction to walk for fear of closing a door on one of those other directions. And to be honest, it doesn't matter. Like, just know you can pivot. So being in the moment, making a decision right now. There's a massive road behind me. I don't know if you can hear the million cars going past. We're on the highway. This is the Australian M1 highway behind us. Yeah, like, if you make a decision now, you've made a decision and you can move forward rather than being stuck overthinking. So if you don't know what to do and you've got a decision to make, honestly, the best thing to do is just make the decision. Unless there's some specific thing which is giving you a time limit. It's like, I need to make a decision by this date, right? And for me, see, because I can be like, I'm making a decision right now, but I don't need to make a decision yet. So I'm toying with the ideas right now for myself because my long service leave ends in February next year. If you haven't seen my other videos, I'm on long service leave right now. I get like a few months off work because I did 10 years of work as a teacher, so I get a big break. And yeah, so when that is about to end, I need to know what I'm going to do. Do I go back to work or do I transfer to a different place? Because I've just done a 3-year period, so I'm allowed to transfer back to Brisbane where I'm originally was based. We've been in this small town for 3 years. And yeah, I don't know, I'll make a decision then. So you'll hear about it here because I've got to make, well, I will have made a decision by the end of the year, and I'm doing 100 videos in 100 days. The last video will be on the 31st of December, 2025. So you'll know what I did in the future, but I don't know what I'm doing yet. So right now I'm kind of just assessing the directions And I'm just working. I'm working towards things. So like I'm moving in each direction a little bit, but enough that I haven't actually made a decision. So am I being a hypocrite by giving you advice and not taking my own advice? But this is the thing. I know the exact path I'm on. And so I don't feel like me telling you this today is me telling you not what I would do, because it's exactly what I'm doing and what I've done multiple times in my life. Even when I switched from filmmaking to becoming a teacher, it was the most random thing, but I was just like, look, I'm just going to give it a go. And initially it was just like, I'll just put in the enrollment. I probably won't even get in. And I got in, and then, because I already had a master's degree in film and a bachelor's degree in multimedia, so software engineering mixed with film and animation. And, but yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know. So I got in, and then I was like, oh, okay, can I make this work? And I was like, yeah, I can do work at the same time as studying. The days work out. So then I did the study, and then I had to go do like placements in classrooms. Like, oh yeah, I guess. And Candice was like, oh dude, you're going to quit after the first day. You're not going to want to do that in a classroom, you know? So I was taking it. I always knew I could pivot. I could go back to what I was doing before. I could try other new things, you know? But I just kept moving in that direction, pick a direction and move in that direction. And it's worked so well for me. I feel like I sleep great at night. I've had a great life. I'm pleased with the things I've done. In one video, I talked about the money I've made and stuff in my life and how I've made money. And I'd say the only thing is I've never focused on abundance. I've never focused on money, never. I've always kind of not worried about money, and that's probably my own issues and mindset around money. And I'm trying to work on that in my leave as well. But for me, it was always about the project. I could work on this project, or this idea sounds great, you know, or oh, I could add value to people's lives there, or that would help people. You know, I've never kind of just selfishly thought of myself. And so, you know, what influences your decision to take action, or like the thing that makes you decide, I'm going to go in this direction, like that's going to change for every single person. Like what makes you do something is going to be different from what makes me do something. And what I choose to do at the end of my leave, like I might just go back to work. I might transfer and keep doing teaching. I might get completely out of teaching. Who knows? The point is it's a great time for me to take stock, make a decision, think what would be good. So like they say, pro con list. What does my heart tell me to do? I don't know. I've been trying to listen to my heart more. And so I think listening to your heart's the best way to go, because you're more likely to get what you want. But again, it just depends, like what exterior influences you have. Like I have a wife and 3 kids. Right now I'm the sole breadwinner. Like I'm earning all of the money for our family. So my wife Candice is a novelist, so she's just published a novel. So maybe we'll become millionaires from her novel, who knows? But right now I'm the one earning all of the money for our family. So it's like, if I was to leave teaching and earn nothing, well then what do we do for money? So like there's practical, there's external forces, internal forces. What do you think in your mind? How do you feel? Are you stressed or anxious, or do you hate it? Are you know, is it making you not you, whatever you're doing right now? That's a good reason to change direction. External things, good reason to change direction. Choose the direction you're going to go. So there's a lot of factors, but I would say it's been a long video. My videos always turn out being 15 minutes when I expect them to be 4. But honestly, here is the advice you need today if you clicked on this video. Pick a direction and move in that direction. Stop thinking about it. Pick one thing, doesn't matter which one it is, they're all fine, move in that direction. And very quickly, you might take one step and get a phone call pulling you in some other direction. And then you decide, okay, well, the universe wants me to do that. Do I do it or do I not? And now you've been given an ultimatum now. So like, do you choose this or do you choose this? Because you've been given the ultimatum. But if not, pick a direction, start moving. And it's the same for me. You will see this by whatever this video is. I'm in the 30s, I think, of videos right now. So by video 100, we'll know, won't we? So, and by video 100, I will have made my new documentary, Confessions of a Failed Filmmaker, talking about 20 years working in creativity. Okay, well, it's a beautiful view. And while I'm here, I'm just going to go down the hill and make another video, I think, because it's so beautiful. There's 2 waterfalls. You can't actually see the second one from here. So I'll go try and get a view of the second waterfall for you for another video today. But great talking to you, everyone. And I've been really appreciating everyone commenting on the videos as they watch them. Thank you for subscribing if you have. If you haven't already, like I say, I've got a lot of videos to go, 60-something videos to go. So come along for the ride, learn about life, creativity, filmmaking. I mean, I mainly talk about creativity in life. That's what I've been doing so far. And I'm just trying to share my process as I work on my documentary. So, and spend this time on my leave, and I have the luxury of being able to come make videos every day, you know? So yeah, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you have an amazing day. And if you are unsure of what to do, I mean, you don't have to take my advice, it's unsolicited, but I would say pick a direction and start moving in that direction. Because if you move a little bit in that direction, now you have new information and you can just change direction and move in a new direction. So there's my advice. I said it 3 or 4 times, and I've given this to thousands of students over the years. A lot of them it's helped, and a lot of them come to me later and say, I should have done what you said, I still haven't made a decision. You know, years later you'll see them come to a school event or whatever. So yeah, good luck. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everyone.